welcome to Red Door Conversations, Real Talk and Realty. I am your co-host, Marla Lewis, and I'm here with my two co-hosts, Lisa Brown White. Hey Lisa, what's up? How are you?
I am wonderful. I have no complaints, Marla.
Yay,
Yeah,
good.
I know, huh?
Very good. Life is good.
Girl, you took the words out of my mouth. Life is great.
Awesome.
Yes.
We also have with us Kimberly Dixon Dudley. What's going on, lady?
Again, life is good. Life is good. I see you over there with the polka dots, giving them a lot of energy. This show is something people need some energy
Big
about.
energy. Yeah,
Big energy.
Okay.
Yeah, big energy. I'll show y'all big energy. I went skydiving this past weekend.
Did you?
Did you?
Yes, honey.
You did not tell us
We got to do it together.
Did y'all take videos?
Oh, I have the video.
together?
I have it here. I can show it to you.
Okay, we'll have to see that after the show.
All
Yes,
right,
baby.
That's awesome.
Yes,
Didn't
baby.
know that.
Fearless.
It was a bucket list item for my birthday.
Beautiful.
Oh,
Yes.
happy birthday, Lisa.
Thank you. You know, I'm trying to check off bucket list items now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
love it.
today, hopefully, for your business, this could be a bucket list item.
This ain't no bucket. This is a must. yeah. Now, Kim, how are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. You took the
Okay.
words out of my mouth.
Okay.
Life is good. Life is good.
Yeah, now,
Blessed
this
and
is not a
feeling
bucket
good.
list today. This is a must.
This is a must.
If you're in business,
I believe so.
Yes,
I
you
believe
are.
you're
What's the
right.
title of the show?
The title of this show is Building Business Credit. If you are a business owner of any kind of business, you do not want to miss today's show. We're going to have some information that our expert guest is going to be bringing, and I'm on the edge of my seat,
Right.
wanting to hear.
well, don't
what
be
it
on
is
the
that he
edge. We
has
don't want you
say.
to fall off.
Well, you know what? I'm
back
holding on. I'm holding on. But you guys stay tuned. We'll be right back. Red Door Conversations, Real Talk and Realty.
Hi, I'm Lisa White with GBR Realty, and this month's Builder Spotlight, we're featuring a local builder that is located right here in the Houston area. Park Street Homes is the builder, and their first project is Grand Park Square. Grand Park Square Phase 1 features 16 single-family homes with unique accents and finishes. There are no shared driveways, utilities, or homeowner association fees. Grand Park Square is one of the most highly anticipated affordable housing developments in the Southeast Houston area. Featured is the Arcadia floor plan. It is 1842 square feet with 3 bedrooms and 2.5 bathrooms. The primary suite has a freestanding bathtub and a double vanity. Additional features include recessed lighting, open kitchen, and a private backyard with a covered porch. It is conveniently located near the Texas Medical Center, NRG Stadium, and Herman Park. What's not to love? If you want to make Grand Park Square your forever home, don't hesitate to give us a call, text, or DM. We would love to work with you.
Welcome back to Red Door Conversations, Real Talk and Realty. So ladies, we're going to dive right in because we have so many questions for our guests, right?
Business credit, business owners. I'm like pen and paper in hand ready.
Oh, you
Right.
do have your pen.
I'm ready.
You're gonna go ahead and take some notes.
I'm
We'll take
taking
good notes, so I'll have them too.
Now,
All right. So I want to go ahead and bring our guest out. But who is it?
who's behind the red door? Come on out.
Hello, lady.
Hi.
Awesome.
And he is so handsome. Come on, he is handsome.
Glad to be here.
All right.
Glad to have you.
Yes, glad to have you. Y'all, this is the most amazing, most information-packed session for business owners that you will see in a very long time. We have the pleasure of having with us Mr. John Pitre. Thank you so much for being here.
I appreciate the invitation. Glad to be here.
So John, how are you doing today?
I'm doing just fine. Thank you.
Great. So tell us a little bit about who you are. Give us your background.
Well, my background is, like I said, I started out in real estate. I'm what they call a serial entrepreneur. I've had 27 businesses. I've worked for 28 different companies. I like having my own businesses more than working for other people. Background, back in 2007, I started a company called Your Credit Coach Company.
Yes.
Because I was involved with a lot of businesses that needed help, that didn't have the knowledge, and I just always looked for the information that they needed. And so I developed a company that helped small business owners, not only with their credit, but also to build banking relationships. I worked with over 30 different banks in the Houston area.
Wow.
And they send me their customers so I can get them ready, what they call bankable, because a lot of people don't know that the first couple of years, banks won't loan them money. So my background, like I said, is business. I've done business. I really, marketing is really my forte, but I enjoy owning and operating businesses and help other people learn what they need to do to be successful in the process as well.
Okay, so with that little bit said, I know that the people watching are running to get their pens and pieces of paper right now so that they can take notes, but I want to just dive right in.
Fine.
What is business credit, and does every business owner, should every business owner have it or look to get it?
Yes, well, business credit is a credit that's separate and apart from your personal credit. Business credit doesn't show up on your personal credit profile, and business credit operates totally different from your personal credit. In your personal credit, you have usage rates where you have to stay under 30% of the amount that's on your credit limit on your cards. You don't have that in business credit. You can use 100% of whatever they extend to you without any penalty. But business credit, in a nutshell, is for anybody that has a corporation, whether it's a LLC, C Corp, PC, professional corporation, or even a nonprofit. They can use their tax ID number and their corporation and establish business credit. They set up an account with Dun & Bradstreet, and they create what's called a paydex score. Paydex score goes from 0 to 100, as opposed to your FICO score on personal credit that can go up to 900.
Okay, got it. That's a lot just right there. So going forward with that, should business owners begin working on that immediately once they get a business? When should they start looking into getting business credit?
I think every person should have a corporation, and as soon as they set up a corporation the correct way, they should start building their business credit. You can have a corporation and not even know what type of business you want to go into, because when you set it up right, the corporation is just a parent company, the holding company. Any business you decide to get into is going to be a division, which is going to be a DBA of that corporation. So you can actually start building the credit for the corporation, and once you decide what business or businesses you want to be in, you have funding already sitting there waiting for you to feed to your divisions. And the divisions can take money from the parent company. When the divisions make money, they can send money back up to the parent company. So everybody should have a corporation. For tax purposes alone, is so many benefits.
Okay. So how would a business owner who's maybe in their infancy of ownership, how do they go about starting or acquiring new business credit? What would you recommend?
Well, the first thing they have to do is, business credit is really set up for corporations. So they need to have a corporation. It needs to be structured properly so that way they can be successful when they're trying to build their business credit. And what I mean by that is that, there's different things that hold you back when you're building business credit that you may not think of when you just go in and set up a corporation.
Like what?
Like your mailing address, okay? First of all, most people use their home address. You should never put your home address on any document that's going to be public information, all right? Corporation documents are for public information. Anybody can look and see who the directors and owners and what their addresses are. So use a P.O. box or mailing address for that, and that's usually one place where people mess up, okay? Another thing is, most people will have a address for the business. That's their home address, okay? They should use a virtual office or have a physical location. But if they can't afford a physical location, or they don't really need a physical location, they should spend anywhere between $89 and $150 a month, and it gives them all the things that they need to be successful in building their business credit. Also, it makes them look more professional because they have a physical address that's actually written out an actual mailing address that they can use, okay? Like I have a business, I use 3050 Post Oak Boulevard for one of my companies. I very seldom go there other than to pick up packages and mail, but it's a professional building. What happens is when you're building the business credit, they do a Google Earth. Okay, so if you put a home address and they see you work from the home, they know you're just a small business working from your home.
Okay.
But if you put 3050 Post Oak Boulevard, you're in the heart of the Galleria. Okay,
Nice.
all right.
Okay, that's a good tip.
All right, so that's one thing, and it doesn't cost you a lot of money. Plus, you get answering service, you get to use the office 2 or 3 times a month for free, and things like that. So it makes a big difference as far as you building your credit, because the little things that they look for is like a landline. Do you have a landline or using your cell phone?
Okay.
There's apps out there that you can get converted for $20 a month, and you have it now. It shows up as a landline at that virtual office location and be listed in 411, which is another step that they do. Most of the business credit is set up where you have somebody that's making $12 to $15 an hour that's reviewing your application. They're not going to do a lot of investigation on who you are, what you are, but they are going to Google Earth to see where you are. They're going to call 411 to see if your physical location is the same as the phone number matched to that location. And they are going to also see if you have a website. So having a website and an email address that's tied to that website is crucial for them to feel as though you're a real business owner. Okay.
That's excellent. Okay. So before they go look for businesses, before they go look for credit, they need to make sure they've got
the structure.
The structure,
Yes.
correct.
So are there different stages of business credit? If so, can you give us, elaborate on that a little bit?
Sure. There's different types of business credit, but the early stages when you're just getting established, business credit is based on what's called trade lines, all right? And you just want to accumulate trade lines. So you start out with what's called net 30, 60, 90-day credit from vendors that will just extend you that time frame to make the payments back to them. You purchase an item, you use the item, and then you don't have to pay for it for 30, 60, or 90 days. Well, once you do that, they've extended you credit, and that will show up on your Dun & Bradstreet credit report, your profile. So that's a trade line. So there's companies like Uline and Granger and the QuickBooks and people like that, which will extend you that 30, 60, 90 days. Well, that's 3 different trade lines right there. And there's, you can go out on the internet, there's companies that'll show 13 different companies that you can get 30, 60, 90-day credit all the time. So we use that because the basic thing is you want to build up the trade lines, because when you start getting 8 and above, as far as the number of trade lines, that's when you can start getting the things that you really want, which are the MasterCards, the Visas. And once you get over 12 trade lines, you can get your American Express and things like that. And they really are just looking at who has extended credit to you, because in business credit, it's not a matter if you paid your money in 30 days or 45 days, it's have you paid as agreed. So whatever the terms of the agreement is what, as long as you paid it as agreed, you have a good credit rating.
Good standing, okay.
Right. And basically, like I said, the paydex score is based from 0 to 100, but when you just start out, you're starting out at around 70. So you're not starting from 0, you're starting at 70. So you just need to get to 80 to be able to, 80 paydex score is like a 750 personal credit score.
So let me ask you a question. So how long does that process take to build a solid, good rating with business credit? How long can that process take?
It really takes between 6 and 9 months. And
That's
the reason and the reason it takes that's a long time, but the reason it takes a length of time is because you have to purchase an item, get billed for the item, and then make the payment. So every time you do that, there's a lag time, okay? And basically what you don't want to do is there's certain things you need to apply for and don't need to apply for, because everything has a listing of how many trade lines you need. Like in my business, I know how many trade lines it takes to get this card, how many trade lines it takes to get that card, whether it's a gas card or American Express or whatever. So you don't want to apply for the things until you know you have enough trade lines to get approved for it, okay? So that's why the systems are set in place that I use to make sure that I want to apply. You may want a MasterCard, but you're not ready for the MasterCard because you don't have enough trade lines. And what you don't want is to get denied. All right. So what you want to do is make sure you only apply for the things that you have enough trade lines for. So it's just the lag time of buying something, and you can buy 2 or 3 items. And the other thing is you only have to spend $50 with each vendor in order for it to count.
Got it.
Okay. So, and you don't have to keep buying things. You just have to buy things one time, get it reported. That's a trade line. You don't have to keep using it over and over again because you may not need that trade line, but you just buy something to create a trade line. Use it one time to build it up. Correct.
So, John, what are some places that you would recommend that people start when we're talking in terms of getting those trade lines, if you don't have them, or just starting to get trade lines?
Okay, like I said, there's a company called Quill Pen Company, stationery company, that you can apply for it. There's Granger, which sells a multitude of products. And there's always something you can purchase that, you may not need it right now, but you can purchase it. It could, like Granger, you could buy something that's a safety product. You can buy something, signage. They have all different types of products that they have a catalog about this thick.
Like Uline.
And Uline, exactly.
Stationary materials. So you go and buy a printer or something?
Well, yeah, you can, whatever you'll look through all the different catalogs, and because everything is done online now, so you can go and search and find something that you can purchase. And once you do, and like I said, you make that payment, then that creates a trade line. And there's certain companies that only report, like in business credit, you still have Experian, Equifax, TransUnion, but you have the business divisions of those. So it's not the personal division. So you want to make sure that whatever companies you're using, you know who they report to. Okay, because you want some report to one, because like in personal credit, some retail stores will only have report to Equifax or Experian, and someone else will report to TransUnion, because they don't want to pay for all the services, but they have to pay for something to get a report. So same thing with business credit. Not everybody will report to the same thing. Some will report to Business Experience, some will business Equifax, but you want to make sure that whoever it is reports to Dun & Bradstreet.
And is that just asking the simple question of who do you report
Exactly.
to? I see. I see.
So it sounds like there's some things people need to know before they go and secure business credit. Do you recommend that they find someone, hire someone, or they try to do it on their own?
Okay. Well, there's a lot of good information that's out there on the internet for you to get started. But what happens with that is there's information that's missing. All right, because the major companies that are putting it out there are putting it out there because they want you to see that it works.
Right.
But they don't want you to succeed because they want you to hire them.
Oh, wow.
Okay. And they want you to hire the company that they saw put that information out there for you to get started. So you'll see how you're making progress, you're getting trade lines, but then you'll hit a wall. And the reason you hit that wall is because you're missing pieces.
Talk about it.
Okay.
So
and
like you don't know who reports to who.
Yeah, but more importantly, is it really starts with the structure of your corporation. Okay, in the beginning. And so you go out and say, well, I'm going to spend the $300 with the state in defaulting. And that's all you really need to spend. Okay, because there's people that will charge you thousands of dollars to set up your corporation, and you're just wasting your money.
Oh, to set up articles of incorporation.
Yes, because every line on the application from the Secretary of State, I don't care what state you're in, every line that asks a question, who's the director, what type of corporation, that is the articles of incorporation. So that's why when you do it online and the state sends you back that form, you're in business because they already give you the formation certificate, because every question that you answer is the basis of your articles of incorporation. So when somebody takes that information and they put it in a glossy binder and make it look expensive, that's all they're doing. But you're in business. The only thing you need when you go to a banker, what they're looking for is the basic articles from the state, and that you have a tax ID from the IRS, and you can open up a bank account, and you're officially in business at that point.
Okay, well that is a good spot to stop and pause, because that's some information people need to go get their DUNS, they need to have their Secretary of State filing, and they need to structure the business right before they go get the finances. So stay right there, don't go back. We're gonna pick up where we left off. Red Door Conversations.
Hello, I'm Chanel Hollis. Kimberly Dixon Dudley is my realtor for life. I've known Kimberly for about 20, 30 years almost. And I, in the beginning, dabbled in investments myself. I bought a couple single family homes myself. And I feel that I left a lot of money on the table. It's something that I just don't want to do on my own. I suggest if you're looking to purchase anything, it's a big investment. You should have the perfect person and partner with a professional like Kimberly Lane Properties.
Hi, welcome back to Red Door Conversations, Real Talk and Realty. We're back with the wealth of information, Mr. Pitre. Okay, he is teaching us about establishing business credit. And if you left to go somewhere, get your pen and pad, because you're going to miss out on something. Mr. Pitre.
Yes.
So you were asking him something, Marla. What were you asking?
I was trying to ask him while I have him on the hot seat.
Yeah.
I was trying to ask him as many things as possible.
Right.
Kim's card is jam-packed with notes. I mean, so let's see. We talked about the structure and making sure that that business is set up correctly in the beginning. What happens if, say, you take a business and it's not? What do you do in order to get it, to help a business owner to get it right so that they can obtain the business credit that's needed?
Okay, it's very easy. First thing I do is look and see whether or not the address that they have with the Secretary of State is the same address that they have with the Texas Comptroller's Office, if it's a Texas corporation, of course, because you want to make sure everything's consistent. When somebody's looking to review your credit profile, they want to see consistency. So you want to make sure that your address for your business that you have, that you're operating from, whether it's virtual or physical, you want to make sure that address is what you started the company with, okay? And if you didn't, you want to make sure you put the change in with the Secretary of State or the Comptroller's Office. Very simple to do. You can do it online. But that's the first mistake that most people make. It's not consistent. They may have started from home. When they fill out the paperwork, they moved into an office building, and now you have two different offices. Is conflicting information, all right? So things like that. Same thing. A lot of people start out with using their cell phone. They don't know they need to. They can still use their cell phone, but they can get an app that will simplify the process and show that that phone is now tied to whatever physical address that you have listed with your paperwork. So when somebody calls 401 to find out about your company, it matches because it now reflects the same address. When people ask, is this number tied to this address?
So should someone go at building business credit alone, or should they hire help?
If they want to speed up the process, they need to hire help, okay? Because there's so many things that they don't know, even though, like I said, there's a wealth of information out there for free that's good information, but it's just incomplete information. And what they put it out there for, like I said, I work with some of these major companies that put the information out there, and the reason they do that is because you go so far and then you hit a wall and you can't go any further, and then you either decide, say, oh, this doesn't work, or you realize it has been working, but now I need to pay somebody to help me go further. And then they'll go back and filling all the missing pieces that they didn't advertise. Because the only reason these major companies are putting that information out there is because they know it works.
Right.
And they know you need help. Because there's so many little things, nuances to it, that if you aren't familiar with it, you can't do it on your own. And you can't figure it out on your own.
Yeah, there are people that operate for years as a business entity and don't have any of this that you have just stated today in place.
But speaking of information being out in the public sphere, what are some of the myths that people believe about business credit that just simply are not true?
Well, first of all, a lot of people believe it doesn't work, okay? But most companies exist because of business credit. And one thing that people don't realize is that, okay, first of all, a corporation, the rights of a corporation was established before your rights for your Social Security number. Your corporation tax ID number is a SS4 form. Your Social Security number form is a SS5 form, which means the tax ID came before Social Security. Social Security didn't come into existence as far as where it was mandatory that before you could take a baby from the hospital, you had to have a Social Security number. That didn't happen until the 80s, all right? That was a law that was introduced in the 80s.
Really?
Before, remember, well, I'm older than all of you on the stage, but
you can't tell. You look good.
But before you didn't get a Social Security number until you went and applied for your first job. Okay?
That does sound right. Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Now you get a Social Security number when you have a baby. That baby cannot leave the hospital before they get a Social Security number.
That's right.
Okay?
But you're correct. I remember that.
So corporations were established first. Also, the United States of America is a corporation. The 50 states are its divisions, and each state has subsidiaries, which are cities. That's why Orange County, California, New York City can file bankruptcy and still exist as Orange County, California in New York City. Okay? Because everything is a corporation. So all the rules are built for the corporations.
Yes.
So you need to have corporation and go from there. Okay? Because I don't care what you are, who you are, what age you are. Do you know that there's, In the other culture, there's 7-year-old kids that have corporations, okay?
Wow.
And it's legal because on your corporation documents, it doesn't ask you your age, okay?
They start building
All right.
credit before they get out of high school.
That's
Before
right.
They go into college with credit
Exactly.
and understanding how to use it. We don't have those conversations in this open space, so thank you for being so honest.
Exactly.
No problem. But yeah,
Let me ask you another question
Sure.
because you were attempting to share some information with me before we started filming. And I wanted to get this information out there if you're comfortable with putting it out there. But we have so many individuals that want to own businesses but were incarcerated or, you know, have some type of background. What do you say about that?
Okay, along those same lines, a corporation by definition is a separate entity other than yourself, all right? Which means a corporation, when you fill out the SS4 document, there's no question on there about felony convictions, anything like that. It's a separate entity. It's a clean corporation. There doesn't have a past, all right? So also, when you apply for your tax ID number, nowhere on there does it ask you whether or not you have a criminal record. So I work with churches here and in Georgia, teaching people that if you go to have a reentry ministry, first thing you want to do is have them set up a corporation. So what they do is they'll get grant funding, and they'll get money to have them set up a corporation. Now this corporation has a clean slate. That person may be an officer and run that corporation, but the corporation doesn't have a record. So when you start building up business credit, when you have credit applications, the corporation doesn't have a criminal record. So you answer everything honestly, and you can get what you need to get to really live a good life, even after you've been incarcerated.
And I thought that was so perfect for those that want to re-enter into the workforce, but have a hard time doing it honestly.
That's right.
You know, because of the background. And sometimes things happening a long time ago, but nevertheless still on the background.
Correct.
That is good information. Very, very good information.
So I would like to know how can having business credit give your business a boost?
Okay. Well, first of all, I don't care what business you have, you need money. All right. You need access to capital. And the quickest access to capital you're going to get during the first 2 to 3 years of your business ownership is that of business credit. Because banks, like I say, will not really loan you any money. But you want to, during that 2 to 3 years when they're not loaning you money, you want to build relationships with the banks. All right. And you want to build relationships with several banks because every bank has their own appetite for the type of lending they want to do. So you don't want to put all your eggs in one basket and only bank with this bank. You want to build relationships. And so what you're doing is you have several small business accounts. You go in, make deposits or withdrawals. But when you go in there, you speak to your bankers and they ask you, do you need anything? You say no, just handling business and just go in and get out. Don't really want them to engage you because you're not ready for them to engage you. But what you want to do is let them see you come in and out of the bank. So when you get to the point where you know you're ready, then you're not a stranger to them. They've seen you. They've been wanting to help, but they couldn't do anything because you wouldn't allow them to. All right. Now when you need them to, if you need them to, I've seen businesses that built up business credit where they never even had to go to a bank other than making deposits because they didn't need the bank. Because the bank, and a lot of them have an attitude like the bank didn't want to help me when I didn't have it. I'm making it now, and I don't need them other than to handle my transactions. But you want to have those relationships, multiple relationships. Like I said, I work with over 30 banks in the Houston area, and you want to be able to have those relationships with the banks.
Now, I keep hearing you say banks don't want to do business with you in the first couple of years. Are you saying that you should get a line of credit or a credit card? I heard you say MasterCard, Visa.
Okay.
And there's a difference between a line of credit and a credit card, but what would you recommend for first?
Okay, yeah. When you're starting out, what you're going to wind up doing is the reason you accumulate the trade lines so you can get to the point where you have the MasterCard and Visa, what they call those cash cards.
Okay.
Cards that you can either buy things that you need for your business with the credit card, or that you can get a cash advance. When you get a cash advance, you pay a higher interest rate, but you actually can pull cash out of it. Usually they'll limit you to 50% of whatever the amount is. But you have to realize also with business credit, it's unlike personal credit. So it's for business. So your their credit limits that they initially offer you are going to be much higher. You're going to get credit cards your first time out with a $10,000 or $20,000 credit limit. All right. So if it's a cash card, it's a $20,000 limit. That means you still have access to $10,000 cash that you can pull off of that card at any point in time without having to call the banker and ask permission. You just have to go into the bank and do it.
Now, is it easier for new businesses to get a credit card or a line of credit?
No, you want to get the credit cards.
Credit card?
Yeah, because like I said, credit line, that's going to the bank itself. Right. All right. And off camera, we talked a little bit about this, if you don't mind me elaborating, but the credit cards, every bank. Now, we're here in Houston. Just think about going down Westheimer. Look at all the banks that are on Westheimer that you never see advertised on television, but you see it's a bank, it's a bank, it's a bank, all right?
Most expensive real estate in the city.
Exactly. But the key to it is the fact that they all are banks that are FDIC insured, which that means they all have to participate in what's called the Community Reinvestment Act, CRA, all right? So if you and I, or our culture, we are name brand people, okay? So we're not going to go walk into a bank that we never heard of. We just see over there, but we never heard of it. We've never seen advertising on TV. We are name brand people. We're going to go into the banks that we heard of. Now, all these other banks, they're still in business. How? Because the relationships that these other major companies, the credit building companies, like I said, that I'm affiliated with, associated with, they have the relationships with thousands of banks. Each one of those banks have a licensing agreement with either MasterCard or Visa or both, all right, which allows them to issue credit cards. So how do they get to issue credit cards in the community that people won't come into their bank? They use these big credit building services. So when you apply for a card, they give it to you much easier because they need it for them to stay in business. Okay, and they give you higher credit limits because that helps them fulfill their obligation to FDIC. Okay, so what happens when they do that, unlike personal credit, there is no limit to how many credit cards you can have or how many. So every bank issues you a credit card. So you could have 50 or 100 MasterCards, 100 Visa cards from a variety of different banks. And when you do that, that's all money that you have accessible to you at any given point in time. You're only paying for it when you use it.
Mr. Pitre?
Yes.
We actually I want you to let the people know how they can reach you. We have run out of time. But before we go, we do want the people to be able to have access to you because you are a wealth of information.
Okay. My phone number is 713-835-2380. That is the number to the business. The email address is jtpitre, that's spelled Pitre, at yourcreditcoachcompany.com.
We thank you. We thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely.
I mean, I feel like I've just learned so much. And we have to have a redo.
Yes. A follow-up.
Follow-up. Yes. Yeah. Guys, thank you for tuning in to Red Door Conversations, Real Talk and Realty. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Bye.